Good morning and welcome to Saturday special of Dr. Lamba's Awakening Call. Just a couple of days back, most of the Indians celebrated Ganesh Chaturthi. And Ganesha, the son of Lord Shiva, is mostly worshipped because of his being deemed to be the Lord of prosperity and symbol of good luck. That's great. You go to any shop, you look to any account book and you'll find the symbol, the swastika, the real swastika, not the inverted swastika of Hitler. Over there as a sign, people build houses as a symbol of Ganesh is put in. And this god, son of Lord Shiva and Devi Parvati, is worshipped under half a dozen different names. Sumukha, Idanta, Kapila, Gajkarna, Lambudra, Vikam, Viren Bhaskara, Vinayak, Dhamrektu, Gandharakshita, Bhalchandra, and so on. And his form is highly mesmerizing, the cute little chubby-like body, and an elephant head. They are inspiring devotion and love in the hearts of millions to that. But people, while worshipping him as the symbol of good luck, as a sign of prosperity, forget that he is in fact symbol of practically every virtue and every trait. The form of Lord Ganesh evokes our imagination, pleases people beyond compare, but there is a deep spiritual symbolism behind his chubby face. So some of the symbols I'm going to discuss with you. And if I look at the shlokas, they describe Lord Shiva very interestingly. A famous shloka dedicated to Lord Ganesh describes him as Vakratunda Mahake Koti Surya Sampada, meaning I worship Lord with a curved trunk and huge body, with the effulgence of a core sun. Let him remove the obstacles from my path and lead them to fulfillment. Thus we find Ganesha having a huge body and an elephant face. The huge belly symbolizes the whole universe. The elephant head is a symbol of knowledge. In Ganpati, Atharvanasht Upanishad, if you read it, you would find the different shades of deep symbolic meaning that come out with regard to the Lord Ganesha's form. As a matter of fact, I counted at least 20 different symbols when I went through Ganpati Upanishad. And there is a meaning to each of them. In this Upanishad, Ganesha is identified with the Supreme Brahma. He is son of Shiva and Parvati, but he himself is Supreme Brahma and the highest head of the created universe. Now this fact is hardly known to the people. And then look at the elephant trunk. Usually elephants are the path makers in the forest. And when an elephant passes through the thick woods, a way is created for other animals to follow. Lord Ganesha is worshipped first before starting anything new because he clears the obstacles and paves the way for us to move forward in life. Now this elephant head of Lord Ganesha, as I said, symbolizes wisdom, understanding, and a typical word in Hindi called vivek, which is roughly translated as discrimination. But there are very subtle discrimination here, certain nuances of discrimination. So it also gives that vivek, that discriminating intellect that one must possess to attain perfection. Now the mouth is very wide. It represents the natural human desire to enjoy life in the world. Not to be mendicant, enjoy the life. And the large ears signify that a perfect person is one who has a great capacity to listen to others and assimilate ideas, be a good listener. Ganesha, being the ruler of the world, he possesses large ears to keenly listen to the prayers and the needs of all his subjects. Coming back to the trunk, can hold anything and everything existing in the universe. Likewise, the individual should possess qualities that make them attuned to the circumstance of life. And then, incidentally, this trunk, if you look at it very carefully, represents Om, the symbol of cosmic reality. The two tusks denote the two aspects of human personality, wisdom and emotion. The right tusk represents wisdom. The left tusk represents emotion. The broken tusk conveys the idea that one must conquer emotion with wisdom to attain perfection. The sublimation of emotions. And that is what is symbolized by the tusks, where the right tusk represents wisdom, left emotion, and the broken left conveys the idea that emotions must be conquered with wisdom. You cannot let them go astray. Now, elephants have a natural deceptiveness that allows them to perceive objects to be bigger than they really are. Thus, the thing indicates surrender to pride and need to attain humility. The Trishul of Shiva, the symbol of Shiva, is similar to trident. Over forehead of Ganesha symbolizes times, past, present and future, and the mastery of Ganesh over all the time, whether it's past, present or future. The four arms of Ganesh represent the four inner attributes of body. That is the mind, intellect, ego and conditioned conscience. The Hindi word for them are Manas, Buddhi, Ahankar and Chitta. And Ganesh represents the pure consciousness, the Atma, which enables four attributes to function within us. The hand waving a symbol, an axe, yes, that is a symbol of retrenchment of all desires. There is a pain and suffering because desires generate pain. And with this axe, Lord Ganesh can both strike and repel obstacles. The axe is also a prod to the day path of righteousness and truth. Now the second hand holds a whip, symbol of the force that ties the devout person to the eternal beauties of God. The whip conveys to you that the worldly attachments and desires should be got rid of. And the third hand, turned towards the devotee, is a pose of blessing, refuge, protection, abhay, fearlessness. And the fourth hand holds a lotus flower, Padma. And Padma symbolizes the highest goal of human evolution, the sweetness of realized inner self. Now, human body possesses a human heart, which is a symbol of kindness and compassion. And that's why Lord Shiva usually portrayed wearing red and yellow clothes. Yellow clothes symbolize purity, peace, auspiciousness, self-control and truthfulness. And red represents the activity of the word. Thus, an individual should perform all the duties of the word with purity, peace and truthfulness. Now comes the belly, represents the cosmos, as I said earlier. The seven realms above and below, and the seven oceans, they are all within Ganesh's belly. And these are held together by the cosmic energy represented by Kundalini. And Kundalini is symbolized by the huge snake around his belly. The snake that runs around his waist represents energy in all forms. The big belly signifies that a person should face all pleasant and unpleasant experiences. The mouse on which Ganesh is riding represents ego. Lord Ganesha uses a mouse, the need to control ego, and so is said to be one who controls his ego, has Ganesha's consciousness. Ganesh Chaturthi is a celebration of God who controls the universe. The wandering mouse also signifies another thing, the wandering human mind. Mind you can't control, it's wandering, so that you have to control. And the Ganesh, the elephant, had controlled the mouse, so we have got to learn to control the mind with intellect. Another interpretation explains why Ganesh has mouse as his vehicle. The king must be accessible to all subjects. Equally, Ganesh with a huge body and elephant head is close to the mouse, which is a tiny creature. This indicates that our lives, elephant or mouse, or snake, are equal, and it's the duty of human beings to take care of all the life, including the humble lives around us. Mouse also symbolizes uncontrolled desires and ego that can nibble all that is good and noble. See, a mouse sitting near the feet of Ganesh and gazing at the laddus denote that purified and controlled desires you can live in the world without being affected by the temptations. Now, right foot dangling over the left foot, even that is symbolical. That illustrates that in order to lead a successful life, one must utilize knowledge and reason to overcome emotions. So look at the symbolism. And his head itself symbolizes wisdom. You see, the story is that once he and his brother were given a challenge to go around the world 3 times, and one who finishes first would be rewarded with the fruit of wisdom. While the other brother went around the world, Ganesha just circumambulated his parents 3 times, and he received the reward. It shows 2 things. One is his wisdom, but also the way of respecting the parents and the elders. The celebration of Ganesh on the Ganesh of Chaturthi is basically that celebration of wisdom. Now, the name is known as Ganpati. Ganpati in Sanskrit means the Lord of being. Gana means multitude. Isha or Pati means Lord. So beings are insensate per se. So they become sentient as pure consciousness enlivens them. So pure consciousness is the Lord of all beings. And Ganesha represents that pure consciousness. And that is inconceivable. Now, it's impossible, I agree, that everybody cannot attune to the inconceivable consciousness directly. So devised a plan and brought multiple forms of gods and goddesses. And on his occasion, the Ganesh Chaturthi, what happens? People install his murti made of clay in their prayer room, worship him with mantras for 3 or 10 days, and thereafter immerse the idol in river, pond or ocean. Now this also signifies the formless reality manifests through a form and signifies further the cycle of the birth and death. Even the God's form has to be ultimately perish. But the formless will prevail. God will continue. The murti might be immersed in water, but Ganesha would continue. So scriptures avert that the life's ultimate purpose is to realize oneness with a formless reality. I was impressed when Ralph Waldo Emerson says that every man is divinity in disguise, a god playing the fool. And only upon realizing the oneness with the reality, an individual can live life totally. Vigneshwar is the other name of Ganesh. It means removal of the trouble, obstacles, impediments. And that's why he's invoked at the start of any project. What happens is that when you want to start a project, two things are important. One is the initiative, the effort, and the other is God's grace, which is universal. So open-minded individuals striving with the right attitude receive that grace. Just as the rainwater falling on the mountain top and valley gets collected only in the valley, so too people with humility get the grace immediately. So surrender does not mean surrendering your thinking and effort, but it means surrendering of your desires. Ganpati immediately brings to mind Ganesh in all its forms. But then if you are content with just gazing on his divine form, chanting his name, singing his glory, it's not going to be beneficial. You have got to understand the symbols and adopt them in the life. Now another point. Usually elephants have two tusks. They represent the vision of duality and also pairs of opposite. Ganesha is having one tusk, one that's broken. Such false notion that the vision of non-duality is beyond pairs of opposites. Then hands, I didn't discuss it. Even hands of Ganesha represent the power to act. Ganesha accomplishes every hand with his four hands as I explained earlier. So another thing, Ganesha carries in his hand a sweet called Modak. He is a giver of all Moda. Moda is joys. Modak represents Vedanta, knowledge which gives bliss. So the real sweetness is a feeling of bliss. Oh God, give us eternal joy. That is the symbol of Modak. And without any partiality, Ganesh represents and blesses everybody, even the immature. And then another point, I mentioned the stomach as belly which contains the cosmos, but it also says that he eats everything. And when you feed him, you feed the whole world, basically. And elephant face goes, hears all, blesses all, and is intelligent. Pick up something. And another thing, an elephant trunk, as I said, is capable of carrying heavy logs, clearing the ways and everything. But it can pick up very small things like a needle. So Ganpati's trunk symbolizes the ability to discriminate, accomplish big and subtle tasks, and is never straight. It's either turned to the right or to the left. So Ganesh takes the size of the devotee. Ganesh is considered an embodiment of the sacred Om, the three symbols, A, U, and M. And they are represented by his feet, stomach, and head. The great contemplate on the great and become great. Ganesh helps his seekers and devotees meditate on the form of Ganpati. And once you follow the symbols and try to adopt in the life, then you are in tune with the supreme consciousness and become one with him. So Ganesh Chaturthi is a day of dedication, understanding, and adoption of those qualities symbolized by Ganesha in his form.